Did you know that nearly 95% of people who go on diets end up regaining the weight they lost, or even gaining more within just a few years? It's a startling statistic, and it raises a critical question. If traditional diets are so often unsuccessful, is there another way to lose fat, one that doesn't involve strict food rules or constant calorie counting? Imagine a path to fat loss that doesn't revolve around deprivation, but instead focuses on sustainable, enjoyable lifestyle changes. Today, we're exploring how you can lose fat without dieting, and why some of the most effective strategies are often the most overlooked. For decades, the mainstream narrative has told us that losing fat is all about cutting calories, banning certain foods, and sticking to rigid meal plans. Diets come in all shapes and sizes: keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, and countless others, each promising dramatic results. Yet for most people, these approaches simply don't work in the long term. The cycle is all too familiar. You start off motivated, see some initial progress, and then, slowly but surely, the old habits creep back in. The weight returns, sometimes with interest, and the sense of failure can be overwhelming. But what if the problem isn't your lack of willpower? What if the approach itself is flawed? The truth is, our bodies and minds aren't designed to thrive under constant restriction. Dieting often leads to physical challenges like hunger, low energy, and cravings, but the psychological toll can be even greater. Feelings of guilt, anxiety around food, and a damaged relationship with eating. The more we tell ourselves we can't have something, the more we tend to want it, setting up a battle that's almost impossible to win. It's time to take a step back and consider a different perspective. Losing fat doesn't have to mean dieting. In fact, some of the most powerful ways to support fat loss have nothing to do with food rules at all. Let's look at a few practical strategies you can start using right now. No meal plans or forbidden foods required. First, consider the role of movement in your daily life. We often think of exercise as something that happens in the gym, but the reality is that our bodies are built to move throughout the day. Small, frequent bursts of activity, walking, taking the stairs, stretching, even standing up regularly, can add up to significant calorie burn over time. This concept, known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, is one of the most underappreciated factors in fat loss. You don't have to run marathons or spend hours lifting weights. Just look for opportunities to move more in your daily routine. Park farther away when you go shopping, walk or cycle to nearby destinations, or take a quick stroll during your lunch break. Over time, these small actions create a meaningful impact. Next, let's talk about hydration. It sounds almost too simple, but drinking enough water can make a noticeable difference when it comes to fat loss. Not only does staying hydrated help maintain your energy levels and support healthy metabolism, but it can also curb unnecessary snacking. Sometimes, our bodies interpret thirst as hunger, leading us to reach for food when what we really need is a glass of water. By making hydration a daily habit, carrying a water bottle, setting reminders, or starting each meal with a glass of water, you can support your body's natural fat-burning processes with minimal effort. Another crucial, yet often neglected factor in fat loss is sleep. In our busy lives, sleep is usually the first thing we sacrifice, but poor sleep can sabotage your fat loss efforts in multiple ways. Lack of sleep disrupts hormones that regulate hunger and fullness, increases cravings for high-calorie foods, and saps your motivation to be active. Prioritizing quality sleep, aiming for 7 to 9 hours a night, keeping a consistent sleep schedule, and creating a relaxing bedtime routine can help your body recover, regulate appetite, and support healthy metabolism. In fact, improving your sleep may be one of the easiest ways to see progress without changing what you eat at all. Of course, none of these strategies matter if your mindset isn't in the right place. This is the breakthrough moment for many people on the fat loss journey, realizing that self-acceptance and a positive mindset are just as important, if not more so, than any specific habit. When you approach fat loss from a place of self-care, rather than punishment or shame, you're more likely to stick with healthy behaviors and make choices that feel good in the long run. Instead of focusing on what you can't have or what you need to change, try shifting your attention to what you can add to your life. More movement, better sleep, greater hydration, and, most importantly, more kindness toward yourself. It's also essential to recognize that everyone's journey is unique. There is no one-size-fits-all formula, and what works for someone else may not work for you. The key is to experiment with small changes, pay attention to how you feel, and find routines that fit your lifestyle. Progress might be slower than with crash diets, but it's far more likely to last. So, let's recap the most important points we've covered. Most people struggle with dieting not because they lack determination, but because traditional diets are unsustainable and often backfire. Fat loss can be achieved without restrictive eating by focusing on overlooked areas like daily movement, hydration, and sleep. The real breakthrough comes when you shift your mindset from self-criticism to self-care, creating a solid foundation for lifelong change. Remember, losing fat isn't about punishing yourself or following the latest fad. It's about building habits that nurture your body and mind. If you found these insights helpful and want more practical advice on living a healthier, happier life without extreme diets or overwhelming rules, make sure to subscribe. By joining our community, you'll get access to more tips, strategies, and inspiring stories to support your journey. Remember, you don't have to diet to lose fat. You just need to take care of yourself, one day at a time.